Welcome, everybody, to the Sheridan Report on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. I sounded like an auctioneer there. Um, we are brought to you by MyBookie.ag, which you can get up to 100% cash back bonus, up to $300 on your first deposit. You can go to thegruelingtruth.com, click on the MyBookie banner at the top of the page to get that, or go to MyBookie.ag and put in the promo code TGT100. I am your co-host for the Sheridan Report, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I'd like to welcome in my co-host and the owner of the Sheridan Report, Bobby Sheridan. How you doing, Bobby?
Mike, I'm doing great. I'm actually in a great mood and feeling good about everything. But had the Pittsburgh Pirates won a game last night, I'd be feeling really good, because that was a tough loss in terms of money swing from my personal account. But that's a good way for me to kind of tell the listeners or who's ever getting involved in this, you've got to be able to emotionally handle it, and you've got to be able to, the next day, turn the page very quickly, just like the pro athletes have to, just like we have to in life on certain things in order to be successful the next day, because the Pittsburgh Pirates last night was a big game for myself in terms of, how we set up the betting yesterday. And, it was a tough loss, and we've had quite a few of those last week, but we're going to keep running. And, we had 5 selections on the show yesterday, Mike, between you and I, and we hit 4 of them. So that's not bad, 80%.
Nope. That's okay. We get to start off baseball or basketball, Bobby?
We're going to start off basketball, Mike, and if we can hit 80% of these games we're going to give out.
Yeah, especially since there's only one of them tonight. How the hell are you going to only hit 80%, Bobby?
I mean, all combined when we're all done. But
okay.
And let me tell you something too, Mike, before we get going. I really enjoyed your Survive in Advance show this morning. I don't always listen live because I'm doing other stuff or just waking up or whatever, but I heard this morning's live. Really good show. And like listening to you guys' banter, you and Steve. Now we'll get on to this boring stuff about sports betting, I guess, and people want to know who's going to win the game tonight. I don't blame them, because basketball, we've been hitting pretty darn good percentage, and it's really been kind of holding us down, holding the fort. Well, Mike, I think your analysis on this game, Toronto and Milwaukee, was dead on the other day when you said, I think on air, or maybe on the other show, or maybe even on our show, I don't remember, Milwaukee Bucks, Toronto played a perfect game 1. And Toronto controlled everything and was just so unfortunate at the end to let that thing slip away. Their chances at a repeat performance when the adjustments are made and things are recalibrated for game 2, how these things go. Toronto would have been better off just getting blown out game 1 and having no clue like Portland did, kind of in their game 1 scenario, for them to have a chance in this ball game, the best chance. Because to play like they did and have it turn out like it did was the absolute worst case scenario, because Milwaukee's actually in a better position tonight to do damage than they were game 1. So I really like the Bucks tonight, Mike. I think that they're going to control this game much sooner than they did. Snuck away with one the other day, and I think the actual adjustments are going to go in their favor. I think they're going to be the ones that are going to be able to make some adjustments and put themselves in a 2-0 position, just like Golden State is, except this one's not going to be a close one. They'll probably have this one by double digits. And I know you feel the same as me, because your analysis was spot on.
Yeah, Milwaukee's going to win. All right, Bobby. Major League Baseball.
That's at 5:35 Pacific, and that's on TNT. And it's what's great is that we go to the Warriors-Portland game 2 tomorrow. We only got one day in between these games, Mike, and that's going to affect greatly two of these 4 teams. The Warriors, it will affect them the most, and it will affect Toronto the second most. So we'll see what happens as this series moves on. Okay, baseball. All right, well, baseball, we've got a lot of stuff working tonight. And let me go over the mix and matches real quick. This will be the 3-team parlay, the
Real quick,
favorites.
I have a listener question, and I have to interrupt you because it's on the NBA. So,
Oh, okay. Oh,
um,
good. No, that's great.
all right, John. I don't know where John's from. It's at John Raskin. John wants to know what about the over under, which is 217 tonight.
That's right. It's 217. Well, let me put some thought to that. Darn it. Well, that's a great question. It's got me kind of. I don't like to just throw darts. I like to have a reason why I'm
I like to throw
making a
darts.
statement.
Beer, pretzels, and darts. It's fine. Oh, okay? You're talking. Okay, I got you.
Well, I would tend to lean to the under in this game just because Toronto's not getting real balanced scoring. There was a stat I saw the other day that in the second half of that ball game, Lowry and Leonard were 12 for 24, and the rest of the team was 0 for 23, something like that. 1 for 24. That's amazing to me. I think Toronto goes through stretches where they have a hard time scoring, and therefore I would look at the under. A lot has to go right for these things to fly over. One bad stretch of these playoff games.
Yeah, and Lowry's probably not dropping 30 tonight.
No, he's probably not dropping 30. And I'm going to bring up something else, too. There was a stat I saw the other day, but I have to find it as we're looking it up. Let me see. I should get it pretty quickly. There it is right there. The unders are 2-1. The unders are 2-1 in this round of the playoffs, which just started, and 37-31-1 overall. And the dogs, of course, the faves lead 35-32 overall in the playoffs. So, we've kind of had the favorites under as kind of a theme overall, although dogs have really caught up. The under has kind of been the way to go in these playoffs. I think the defense has played more consistently than the offense has had, and a lot of the adjustments that are made throughout these series favor the defense. So I think you'd have to go to the under. Milwaukee and under would be the way I would play tonight's game.
All right, Major League Baseball.
All right, Major League Baseball. Well, the three mix and match. We used the Braves, the Astros, and the Twins. Okay, those are all three favorites, not huge favorites, just three valued favorites that we used for a mix and match. We hit 2 out of 3 again yesterday. The only loss was the Mets, 7-6 in the morning. So we're okay there. So the Braves, Astros, and Twins. I've got 4 straight plays tonight. Cubs, Rockies, Tigers, and Giants. And there's one I want to talk about. The Giants play the D-backs tonight. And they're in a good position here. They're plus 127, 640 Pacific. Samardzija on the mound against Merrill Kelly. Kelly is a 30-year-old rookie who has kind of surprised people that he's in the rotation and giving them some decent quality starts. Samardzija also is a veteran, but not a rookie. He's been around many years and has thrown the ball pretty well. His first inning ERA, Mike, something around 12. This is the Giants' problem all year. They've given up the most runs in the first inning. They trail after 1 inning more than anybody, way more. And then the rest of the innings that he's pitched, his other 5 innings that he works on average, he's at a 1.8. Samardzija, low key, under the radar, is throwing the ball as well as he has in a long time. They have a distinct starting pitching edge in this game. A day off yesterday, their bullpen already has a slight edge over the Diamondbacks. And they're getting Buster Posey back tonight. And if you look at the Diamondbacks, they may be without David Peralta. So we have a lot working there tonight in favor of the Giants. They're a strong play tonight. Here's the real question. Can an underdog win a game? If you follow me on Twitter, I've been keeping you abreast of this 3-day run. It's 32-6, the favorites, 32-6. And this is a sport, whatever percentage that is, Mike, I don't know. That's better than 80, I think. This is a sport where favorites only win slightly less than 60%. This is why the value in the underdog is so important, money line in the MLB. But in the last 3 days, if you're a dog player, you can't win. And so we're looking for that trend to end. Of course, I'm on dogs straight. So the Giants are a strong one, and then the Rockies at 4:05. They play the Phillies, and the Phillies are coming. Are hosting the Rockies off of a very disappointing series, and they're not swinging the bats near to their capability. And this team is not responding the way I thought they would be at this time of the season. So I think the Rockies coming in there with Gray, who dominated them about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, whenever they played at Colorado. I think he can dominate them again, Mike. And the Rockies, pretty solid ball club. They're rebounding from their 3-12 start to be just about 500. The Rockies might have a better offense than the Phillies. Yeah, I said it. They might. They just might. So let's see if they can go down there, get a good pitching performance again from Gray. Maybe outslug them. If they out-homer them tonight, then that's a sure win. So we got the Rockies and the Giants over as our top plays.
All right. Did you give out your 3-teamer yet?
Yeah, I did. Braves, Astros, Twins.
Okay. I was just making sure.
Yeah, I let off with that.
Sometimes
Braves,
I have
Astros,
little
Twins.
brain farts, so it happens. And looking ahead to tomorrow, the Trailblazers are actually -2.5 in Game 3 against the Warriors too.
I see that, Mike. Are we going to have a Saturday special or not?
Well, I think we sure will. We should, because we got a heavyweight championship fight we can talk about tomorrow night. We've got. Do we have a hockey game tomorrow night, don't we? Or is it tonight?
Oh,
it's
yeah.
tonight.
What do you got? What do you got in hockey for me, Mike?
The Sharks and the Blues? Oh, I would stay way far away from it because the Blues are -145 right now. So I would just act like it's not happening.
Good call on that, Mike.
Because -145 is too much. I mean, if I was going to bet it, I'd probably just throw it on the Sharks just because they're +125. But I think I would stay away from it.
Or do you like the Blues to even this at 2 and stick them in with our mix and match?
Oh, you can do that. If you're doing a parlay that way, yeah, I would do that. And the other thing is this. I think the Blues could very possibly win Game 5 in San Jose, unless the NHL decides to make sure that they win the way they have in the previous couple series and last game.
Well, the what am I trying to say? The spotlight is on them now. That okay, this is going too far. Favoring the Sharks with all these calls. So maybe now that the spotlight's on them, they'll have to back away, and the Blues will be able to get a call. But I would think just sporting wise, and I don't follow it. I would think the Blues would be in a good position to tie this up. The other series is over. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is all over.
Yeah, that was over last night. That was part of you had that. You said that'd be a sweep, Mike. I got to give you a lot of credit. You came into that series looking maybe to be on the Kings, and you said, let's stay away from Game 1. And you're so right. And you said, that'll give us some value for Game 2. But then when Game 2 came around, you're like, no, I didn't like what I saw there. And then it was another blowout. Then it was like, no, I'm staying away. I'm off. And then by Game 4, you made money on the Bruins. Mike, that was very, very, very good handicapping, changing landscapes. You cannot just be stuck to your take. You got to watch and see what's happening. But we've also said that when you have a take, even after watching and seeing what's happening, you still feel that way, you got to go with it. And that'll get you some wins. So that might be the theme tomorrow night in Portland, Mike, as a little teaser. That's probably tomorrow night's theme in Portland.
All right. Well, hell, Bobby, there's no games left. That's a short night.
Short night.
What are we going to do when we get to June and it's just baseball?
We'll go more in depth about with baseball, and we'll talk more about strategy. And yeah, hey, I have something I want to throw out, and another thing I want to throw out if we've got a couple more minutes. The ATP was 3-0 this morning. We had 2 matchup wins in the PGA, and we had a nice winner with Schwartzman over Nishikori in the Italian Open. So we popped there 3-0, and we've got 2 more already going, and maybe the fans can follow those. That's a Schauffele over Matsuyama in a matchup, and Molinari over Woods in a matchup. Those are just starting. So anyhow, that's Early Risers Club doing a good job. And then the other thing is we have the fans get accustomed to our On This Day, and we're going to have a special show tonight, which is the Preakness Show. We are Vince is going to be on, and Phil Rankin and of the Handicapping Guide, and we're going to go over the Preakness. That's 5:00 Pacific. This is must listen if you're a horse race person to have Vince DeBurgery tell his stories. And I'm going to do On This Day, 1986, with him tonight, and you, of course. And it's going to be the 111th Preakness, Alex Solis, 1986. You know, Mike, you and I were seniors in high school. Snow Chief won the Preakness, and I want to get his thoughts on that. So our On This Day.
That's the horse I bet on in a Derby, and he came in like second or third. I hate that horse.
Correct, but he came back and won the Preakness.
I didn't bet on him in the Preakness, though.
Chief. That was an era, Mike, when it was Snow Chief, Ferdinand, and Ali Sheba. Those 3. Wow. That was just great stuff, and it hooked me on horse racing and cost me a lot of money over the next 30 years until I finally pretty much gave it up. But
that's why the horse racing, if you want to find out about that, we would recommend you go to Phil Rankin at the Handicapping Guide.
Correct. That's absolutely correct. And you'll be able to hear Phil and get his numbers for tomorrow's race tonight at 5:00 live on thegruelingtruth.com.
8:00 Eastern time, 5:00 fake time, which is in California.
Okay, Mike. Sounds good.
Okay, hey, Mike. That sounded kind of patronizing.
Hank Aaron got his 3,000th hit today in 1970. And today was the day the Phillies beat the Cubs 23-22. 50 hits, 11 home runs with the wind blowing out at Wrigley. YouTube that sucker if you want to spend 20 minutes watching that.
It takes a lot
so
longer
there's some
than
good
20
on this
minutes
day
to watch that. You're talking about the highlights. I got the entire game on a VHS tape here.
Oh, man, Mike.
I do. And it was an amazing
I know
game,
you
too.
Do. Trust me, I know you do.
Because the thing about that game was, if I remember right, the Phillies were up like 17-6 going to the bottom of the 4th. And by the time you got to the end of the 5th, it was like, I think it was like 21-16 or something like that. But yeah, it was a fairly entertaining game. And the thing is, I think the Phillies, like, top 4 hitters all had multiple hits. Well, of course, you're going to have to. And Tim McGraw's dad, pitched in the game.
He did, and shoot, I think there was couple people maybe with 3 home runs. I want to say Mike Schmidt hit at least 2.
I think Dave Kingman hit 3.
Yeah, Kingman might have hit 3. I mean, what a game. So go back and reminisce about that one, get the highlights on that one. And today, Mike, and I tweeted this, and I have to just throw this out there, we got a happy birthday coming to Sugar Ray Leonard. And there it is. Yeah, it's the wrong one. Sugar Ray Leonard, Mike, can you believe he turned 63 today? Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah, I can believe that. Just because
Danny Manning is
53.
Yeah, Danny Manning's 53, Tony Parker 37, and Matt Ryan 34. Is Matt Ryan, he's still an elite quarterback, right?
Yeah, he's still an NFL quarterback for the Falcons.
NFL, but
yeah.
No, I know that. I said elite. Is he still elite?
I think it's debatable whether he was ever elite, but yeah, I would say he is.
Okay.
Hey, and so you know, the 23-22 game, I think there was like 50 hits in that game. The team ERAs for that game were both over 17. So there you go.
Wind blowing out at Wrigley.
Do you know who the starting pitchers were? Because both starting pitchers, wonder how often this has happened. I think both starting pitchers pitched a third of an inning, and that was it.
Dick Ruthven? Did he start the game for Philadelphia? All right. Who started?
I don't know. I thought maybe you would know. No, it's Randy Lerch. Randy Lerch for Philadelphia. Dennis Lamp for the Cubs. The winning pitcher was Raleigh Eastwick, formerly with the Reds. And actually, Eastwick in the game, I think pitched like 2 perfect innings. And the
Oh, wow.
interesting thing is, you know who the losing pitcher was?
Who?
Bruce Sutter.
Oh, man. I would have lost a lot of money on that one. He was as good as they got. You know the guy last night that closed the game for the Padres, Yates? He's got a forkball a lot like Bruce Sutter's. That thing just dies off the table. And yesterday we talked about an Uncle Charlie. Of course I know you know Uncle Charlie, but there were some people around that didn't know about an Uncle Charlie. And I looked that up as to why they call it an Uncle Charlie, because I never knew why. I knew what it meant, but and they talked, I looked that up, and they talked about way back in the past how.
Are you talking about Charlie Lau?
No, I'm talking about Uncle Charlie Breaking Ball.
Yeah. Uncle Charlie Breaking Ball? I don't know nothing about that. You're older than me.
Oh, and Uncle Charlie, if someone's got a real good curveball, they refer to it as an Uncle Charlie. You never heard of that?
No, I never heard that. I live in Indiana.
Oh.
We played
maybe
baseball, but it was like with socks and sticks.
Well, who's the best curveball you ever remember seeing?
In person?
No, just on TV.
Oh, I was going to say Terry New, 1978 when I played for the Braves. He played for the Giants, I think.
I said Bert Blyleven. I love Bert Blyleven's curveball. Then again, you got Nolan Ryan, Dwight Gooden. Those are the 3 that came to my mind. Sandy Koufax I never saw, so I heard about it. The one nowadays is.
Let's see. I'm trying to give you something.
Nowadays is Kershaw, right?
I guess. I don't know. I only watch games when we get money bet on them. Can we go off people I saw on video?
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
okay.
On video or whatever.
I would say guys that stand out to me. How about this? I'll just do it this way. Guys that stand out to me that people would not think of. How about that? Because everybody's going to say Koufax, Blyleven, Ryan, Clayton Kershaw, Bob Feller, Adam Wainwright, stuff like that. If I had to give you a few off the top, is Mickey Lolich, 1968 Tigers.
Wow. Yeah,
how about this one? He pitched on the same staff as Ryan for a while. Frank Tanana. He had a hell of a curveball.
Ooh. Tanana and Ryan in 3 Days of Crying.
Yeah. How about one of the first curveballs? Christy Mathewson.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Heard about it. Never saw anything.
I read a book about him. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got one for you, which you've probably heard of, but haven't seen. And that would be Mordecai Three Finger Brown, because he had an advantage when he threw his curveball.
Well, yeah, he probably had natural just by the way he had to grip.
Yeah, he only had 3 fingers. That ball was curving anyways. And I'll tell you another one, and I saw this one, 1975 World Series. Luis Tion had a hell of a curveball.
Yeah, he did. He had a really good curveball and really deceptive, and he was probably one of the first pitchers that introduced deception into his motion to throw off the hitter's timing.
Well, if we go closers, what about Dan Quisenberry with that sidearmed and the way that thing would kind of break down at your feet if you were a right-handed batter or break up into your hands?
Yeah, that was tremendous, and that brings to mind Adam Ottavino a little bit today. He doesn't drop down and do the submarine, but he's got that slurve, that sort of that Frisbee-type slider that is really tough. I saw that in person a few weeks ago when they were in San Francisco, and he struck out Posey with that thing, and that was amazing. Amazing pitch. Very good stuff, Mike.
How about Rube Waddell?
I've heard of him, and I didn't know too much about him. I wouldn't even have known he was known for his curveball.
Or maybe Jim Longborg, who had the great season in '67 to help the Red Sox actually make it to the World Series and lose to Bob Gibson.
Yeah, wow.
And then I can't forget this one, because I think for 1 year, 1978, he may have been the greatest pitcher I ever saw, just for 1 year, and that was Ron Guidry.
Oh, Ron Guidry, Louisiana Lightning.
Yeah.
You know, Mike, when he would strike, he'd strike you out to end the inning. He'd jog off the mound. I love that. You don't see pitchers do that at all, and he would jog off the mound when he'd strike you out to end the inning. I love that. He's 5'11", left-hander, 5'10" maybe. Louisiana Lightning. I was 10 years old, and I watched this live, Mike, when he struck out 19 Angels. I was a big Angels fan, and he struck out 19 in 1978, I believe. So I would
Yeah,
have been
because in
about 9 years old.
'78, wasn't he something crazy? Like he was 25-3 or 26-3, something like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
He
his
had the big year,
ERA
25.
was like, it was under 2. I think it was like 1.7 or something.
Yeah, he had that back foot slider going like Steve Carlton. Curveball, slider. They're very similar pitches, but he had the back foot slider to the right-handers.
Well, and the thing people remember or forget is if you remember, like the Yankees went to hell in the '80s, but in '85, I think they made a run at the Blue Jays a little bit. But I think
they did.
1985, he was a 20-game winner. He was something crazy like 22-6 or 23-6 that year.
He had a comeback year. I didn't remember that. No.
Yeah, and then he just kind of disappeared after that. He had a losing record for the next 3 seasons. I think he was injured for most of those 3 seasons.
Not surprised. He threw a lot of innings and made a lot of pitches back in the late 70s and 77 through 79.
Yeah, they ain't pulling him with a 2-hitter in the 8th inning like they would today.
Shit, no, they weren't. And it was a better game back then, but don't get me started on that.
All right.
Mike,
go ahead.
Last night's home plate umpire, Pirates game.
Oh, God, that was horrible.
Yeah, how horrible was that? I'm sitting
here. It was
here.
bad.
I'm going to tell you something, Mike, and this is the truth, and I'll tell the listeners right now, and this doesn't mean I'm anything special or anything else, but I had $9,000 sitting on that game. I didn't bet $9,000. It was going to finish off a couple, 3 different parlays for me that were 5-teamers, things like that. And I'm sitting there watching this idiot, all balls and strikes, pissing me off. 9th inning, the leadoff guy, Tucker, led off. He's a rookie. 2-0 count. He's taking 2-0. It's not even on the line. The ball doesn't even touch the line at all. It's 1 or 2 ball lengths below the line on the 2-0 pitch. He's calling that a strike. Now, that's everything. That 3-0, he's going to take 3-0, but the whole at bat's different. He winds up flying out.
Well, hell, I remember the one is like 5 inches outside. He calls it a strike. The next pitch is 5 inches inside, and he calls it a strike. And then
that was starting.
Yeah, the third pitch was a little high, but it was a strike, and it was the only one that he called a ball.
Yeah, it was really bad, and that was going on throughout the whole game. And
it's like when I used to coach my son's little league team. It was, especially if it was hot out. Get about the 4th inning, everything's a strike because they're ready to get their ass home.
Well,
that's why at the end of that game on the last batter, you remember you get 2 crazy strike calls like that. Then the third pitch, he checks his swing, and they point down to the first base guy. I thought for sure they were going to ring him up just so they could go get something to eat.
Well, that was the fact he even checked was ridiculous because the guy barely even moved his hands. He lost control of that game. But, Mike, Trevor Williams was a big reason why we bet that game because, see, we had the bullpen lined up. Vasquez was going to throw 2 last night if need be, and they had Crick. They had 7, 8, and 9 handled, okay?
Yeah,
we just had to get the ball with the lead. He gets hurt in the 4th inning. Trevor Williams was shoving it. San Diego wasn't going to score. He's not going to give up some 3-run home run on a hanging 0-2 curveball the way the guy with a 70 ERA they brought in the 6th inning. It was just really bad luck on that game last night. But you know what, Mike? We move on. We make money today, and we'll get it all back. And that's all there is to it.
All right, Bobby.
It can't be that bad of a day when Portland covered. We had the middle in the second half. 2 out of 3 mix and match won. We're hanging in there. Baseball's just got to start coming around. 32-6 favorites run. That's the biggest favorites run that I've documented in the last 4 or 5 years. So, anyhow, Mike, let's see what the favorites do today.
All right, Bobby. We are going to remind everybody tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific, we will have the Preakness Preview Show on the Grilling Truth Sports Network with myself,
I'm fired
Bobby,
up.
Phil Rankin, and, of course, Vince DeGroyer. Vince DeGregory. I almost said DeGoria again. I need to get Ernie D on sometime just so I can say his name. So make sure you check us out at 8 o'clock Eastern Time there, 5 o'clock Pacific live on thegrizzlytruth.com, or you can also get us live on Spreaker. All right, Bobby, we're going to wrap it up. I want to remind people to go to the Sheridan Report at Sheridan Report on Twitter, the SheridanReport.com on the internet. Also, check out Phil Rankin with the handicapping guide, and we'll tell you all you need to know about the horse racing. Join us tonight. Phil will be on. He'll explain everything, how it works, and hopefully they can give us some winners tonight, guys. But we're going to wrap it up for now. And I want to remind everybody, we are on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher, wherever you find sports podcasts, you'll find The Grueling Truth. So, for Bobby Sheridan, I'm Mike Goodpasture. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.